So once again, I welcome you all to this very special 145th session at Leadership Talks. As you know that these sessions are being organized by India International Education Council and School Lalaji Solutions. India International Education Council is a not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of education. It has collaborators from 12 countries. It aims to create a better world through education, building quality centers for elementary education, approachable for all kids, finding best educational practices across the globe and find ways to implement those in Indian institutions. It is also creating more awareness on hygiene and learning disabilities. It publishes a magazine called World Education Review and many other educational reports. It aims to build 100 chapters in different cities by 2022. It will soon open its membership for institutions and individuals. It also impart training for leaders, teachers, students, and parents. As you know that so far we have successfully conducted 144 sessions. We have received 17,709 registrations, 16,481 questions on national education policy. We have received participation from 7 countries: India, USA, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Nepal, Kuwait, and Russia. From India, we have seen participation from 22 states and 120 cities. We aim to organize minimum 200 sessions. With this, we would be reaching out to 100,000 educators, 20,000 institutions, and 1,000 plus eminent speakers would be joining us, like today's speakers, to share their perspective and thoughts. Now, with this, I would request you all, please join me in welcoming our key speakers for this very special 145th session. Our first key speaker, a very senior education leader, Varghese Kachapalli sir. Varghese sir is principal with Rajagiri Public School, Ernakulam, Kerala. He's a visionary par excellence. He holds degree MA BAd in history, MBA HR, currently pursuing PhD with Bharatiya University. He served for 6 years as director in Christu Jayanti Public School. He has also worked as principal in Vishwa Jyoti Public School and Rajagiri Public School, Kalasamedi. Raising the bar of the school is a key to his success. Father Varghese is a capable leader who demonstrates his ability to lead and inspire by motivating his team to share his vision. In his pursuit to create an effective learning environment with the parent community, modern teaching techniques are designed. A genuine love of learning triggers him to be a learner always. He's an excellent networker. He possesses a good rapport with the parent community, a philanthropist. He has been actively engaged in promoting human welfare. His altruist desire to reach out to vulnerable and marginalized has culminated in the projects like Pratasha, which is a charitable trust. The relief measures taken during the Kerala floods under his wings has been exemplary and praiseworthy. We welcome you, Varghese sir. Varghese sir, thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next speaker, Dr. Sonal Patil ji. Sonal ji is principal with Dr. D.Y. Patil School of Excellence, Pune, Maharashtra. She's an energetic, versatile, determined, and competent leader, and has the expertise to not only inspire and motivate her team, but also ensure they work tirelessly towards achieving the organization's objective. She has done PhD education, PhD English, MA Geography, BAd and MAd. She is a very keen writer. She has written Bal Bharti 11th standard educational textbook, written and translated. She has also written 6 articles which were published in international magazines on English language. She has worked with many prestigious schools as principal like Priyadarshini Group of Schools, Allen International Schools. She has participated in national and international conferences on teaching, learning, and evolution on teacher education. Welcome, Sonal ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next speaker, another very senior education leader, Dr. Suchitra Bhattacharya ji. Suchitra ma'am is principal with the Manav Rachana International School, Faridabad, Haryana. She's an educationist, administrator, and social worker. She's a classical singer and dancer too. She has also headed GD Goenka School and Army Public School, Kolkata for 6 years. She is an able administrator and believes in leading a happy team. She's a keen writer and writes regularly for various educational magazines. We welcome you, Suchitra ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next speaker, another senior education leader, Dr. Vipin D'Souza ji. Vipin sir is director with St. Xavier Convent School, Barnala, Punjab. He has done professional diploma in child psychology, honorary doctorate in human psychology and English literature. He is a professional life skills coach. He's the founder principal with Stephen International and DAV Public School. He's an award winner of CMO Punjab for his students who topped AIMS. He's also the former resource person of UNICEF Maldives. We welcome you, Vipin sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. And our last key speaker for this very special session, a very senior EdTech leader, Jaswinder Singh ji. Jaswinder sir is founder and CEO of Wordsworth ELT. Jaswinder ji has an experience of 30 years in the field of education and technology and has also served as a consultant to UNESCO on education. Wordsworth English Lab is designed for India and is a highly research initiative of ACT UNIP Group. It is a trusted education company with 2 decades of service in technology, education and training. Its expertise in technology, multimedia and content development has been instrumental in presenting a world-class language lab solution for academia in India. In a short span of time, Wordsworth English Lab has managed considerable recognition across the country for its unique content and methodology. Over 3,000 installations in institutions across the country stand testimony of the quality in product, implementation, training, and continual service provided by the ACT UNIP and its committed network of dealers. We welcome you, Jaswinder sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. So with this, we come to the next part of the session, which is the opening remark part. I would invite all our key speakers, if we can have your 1 minute opening remark. So first, I would request Varghese sir, if you can have your quick 1 minute opening remark.
Yeah, I would like to congratulate the organizers regarding a discussion on NEP, which is going widely, and then everyone is keenly interested. But to make the point is that though discussions are going on, we have to make efforts to be accurate and then concentrate how to make the implementation of NEP. So I hope that this discussion will definitely give us more courage to understand the implications of all the points, and then make more possible things to our teaching learning process. That's all. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Varghese sir. I'll come back to you for your detailed perspective. Now I would request Sonal ma'am, ma'am, if we can have your opening remark. Ma'am, you're not audible. You are not on mute, but I believe there is some challenge with you, with your system. Something. I would request if you can quickly log out and log in, Sonal ma'am. You are still not audible, ma'am. I would request if you can quickly log out and log in, Sonal ma'am. Right. So meanwhile, I would request Suchitra ma'am, ma'am, if we can have your opening remark.
Good afternoon to each one of you. It's a pleasure to come on such a wonderful platform. And I would like to congratulate IIEC. You're doing an excellent job by trying to reach out to each and every one who are the stakeholders. And I think our discussion will be fruitful. So waiting for more such points to come up so that we can interact, and ultimately make this NEP a grand success. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Suchitra ma'am. We all are very excited to hear your ideas in detail. I'll come back to you. Now, I would request Vipin sir, sir, if you can have your opening remark.
A very warm good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me to share. I believe the concept of sharing is actually learning. So this is a wonderful platform you people set up to share such an important topic here, NEP. So which we will, we will be discussing. We're going to discuss here. So our prime, aim of this one, basically, the government is giving a high note on achieving the fundamental literacy and numeracy. So we will discuss in details about all those things, and I will be also touching a couple of the basic pillars of the educations and what exactly matters, and how to education to why to education. So I will be covering a couple of those aspects which will help. I mean, all the leaders, being all the leaders, and this is also quite challenging. People are confused what to do and how to go about it. So we can share the knowledge, and I'm sure by the end of this conference, we will all come to the conclusions with the better ideas and clarifications in terms of vision. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vipin sir. I'll come back to you. Now I would invite Justin sir, if you can have your opinion.
Yeah, thank you, Rajuji, and good evening, everybody. Glad to be in this August presence of such speakers, and my focus is going to be on technology-driven education and how and what changes have been brought up when we talk about language, the kind of language to be used for the early foundation years, and how is it going to impact the other languages. This is there. I would also like to say that this NEP 2020 is a very disruptive policy, but it's towards the positive side. And if we all look at it with the right kind of approach, I think we should be able to achieve the desired results, and that will make a huge impact on the way Indians, India as a country grows and the way the world looks at India. So a lot of work is on us. We need to work together, shoulder to shoulder, and see to it that this becomes a grand success. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Justin sir. I'll come back to you for your detailed perspective. I would like to check, Sunil ma'am, have you joined us back? Sunil ma'am?
She's just joined.
Sunil ma'am, if you can have your opening remark. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, but there is an echo at your side.
Hello, check. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely fine. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead with your opening remark.
I think I'm audible now.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to join you all. Talking about this new national education policy, it's something new where the students are going to come up, and of course the parents are also going to have a big confusion in their mind. So thank you for inviting me here.
Welcome, Sonal ma'am. Big thanks for joining. I'll come back to you, for your detailed perspective. So with this, we come to the next part of the session, which is the main talk part. I would be inviting again our key speakers for the detailed perspective. But before I invite our first key speaker, I would like to share the learnings which we have had during our last 144 sessions. During the last 144 sessions, almost every participant shared that this is a wonderful document. This document has a potential to place India at that coveted position of Vishwa Gyan Guru. But at the same time, in the same breath, same number of participants shared, this is such an ambitious document, execution is going to be very, very challenging. A lot of people shared that finance is going to be a key concern area. At one side, government proposes 6% GDP allocation, but in the same year, the same budget, government reduces budget to education. A lot of people believe that good schools in urban areas already implementing, many of these ideas. The biggest challenge would be for the rural schools, budget schools, and government schools. Many educators who participated, they shared that, biggest concern would be the teachers' training. Many educators shared, yes, teachers' training is going to be a key concern area, but the bigger concern area would be lack of intent among teachers to get trained. So we need to motivate teachers. We need to find motivated teachers. Many people also shared their assessment that this pandemic has exposed how poor distribution we have of digital infrastructure in our country. That is going to be another challenge. So I would request all our key speakers that while sharing your perspective, if you can also suggest some ideas, some best practice which you have been implementing in your respective, institution, so that we all can learn from each other, then session become more useful and engaging for all of us. Also, I would request you all please keep the time limit in mind, like 8 to 10 minutes, per speaker, so that we have sufficient time in the end for the questions. So with this, I would invite the first key speaker, Varghese sir. Varghese sir, over to you. So you are on mute. Sir, you are on mute, Varghese sir.
I'm sorry. Good evening to everyone. It's really wonderful to share some thoughts and then become more learner from your interaction too. I just want to share something about the skills that we have to have for 21st century. Though the CBSE has given us a lot of insights and enlightenment regarding this, how to go about or to have more preparation for 21st century regarding the critical thinking, creativity, innovation, collaboration, and communication. These are the learning skills that they CBSE speak of. And then I was wondering what exactly, though they say that these are the skills that we are going to have, and then we should have, the teachers should have these skills so that we can interact or we can develop our children to a world global class citizen, maybe I can say. But the exact thing which I want to share is that what about the social responsibility of an individual? When people think about maybe when they grow in critical thinking, creativity, innovation, or collaboration, communication, what about the social responsibility that they should have? Each child, when they join to the maybe KG or pre-KG, as NEP says, what schedule we have or what strategy we have to have a social responsibility for children. And the point there comes, if the child doesn't have the confidence and or he or she doesn't enjoy the right of a citizen fully, how can a child become socially responsible? The child is denied certain rights in the society. How can the child grow as a social responsible citizen? Because I have traveled all through the India in different villages maybe. I can see a lot of children denied the basic needs. And then we ask them, we just speak about certain ideal things which will involve, I can say even this NEP is more or less for children, those who are maybe in a middle class family, I can say. There are people, those who don't have the basic needs of life. They really suffer from the society itself, they suffer. And then we speak about, in NEP, we speak about equity and then inclusion, many things. But I don't know, without a proper system of government, local bodies, whether it is possible. We can just ask them to dream about things, but we cannot really make things into unless and until we have a good government system, a local bodies, and then people involvement. That maybe can be called as a collaboration, I can say. The collaboration of the society together can make this NEP like inclusion or equity possible. Without that, we cannot make, or we cannot think about that. I can just speak from here in Kerala situation that everything will happen. Kerala situation is totally different. When we move to the rural areas of very remote areas of North India, any village, we can say we have to have a different strategy, total involvement of the government, the local bodies, and then the families, and then parents. That collaboration should happen, really. Then only this NEP dream will happen. The actualization of NEP will happen only through the collaboration, all the system in India. Otherwise, it will not happen. The second point I just want to share with you is that what about the value system? What about the ethics and then the moral issues of the country? It is really affecting the child who is growing from the childhood itself. It is affecting them. So in the school, in the family, these points should be discussed. The value system, the ethics and morals issues should be discussed with the families, maybe within the school from the early childhood itself, not in a very serious philosophical manner, but day-to-day life experience. Through life experience, we have to give them more lessons. For that, at least we have to stick on to our tradition. When we think about NEP, we offer, or we say inclusion for everyone. Do we really include the disabled children even now? Every school? I don't think. Even if the government say, or even government give us lot of guidelines, do we have the infrastructure for that? Do we really avoid the barriers of different levels? Do we have a curriculum or a pedagogy for disabled children as like a lesson plan as such? What will be our learning outcomes for them? And we have to think about that. It is not very easy. It is very good to discuss many things about NEP, but when we think about the practical side, the implementation is going to be very difficult. So the country, the whole country should think about this. Even a small child has to think about that. What should be my contribution for this? And we have to enlighten them. We have to make them aware about these things. We cannot think about a minority who enjoy all the rights or all the facilities. We have to think about, if you don't want to exclude a single person, as NEP says, every learner matters. So if we cannot, that means we cannot avoid a single learner. We cannot avoid a single individual. So to make sure that we are not avoiding, or we are going to include, we have to have a facilities. We have to avoid all the barriers which are existing within our country, in our society, for what we are going to do. We always say we are enlightened, we are educated. We say we have to be literate in technological way, communication way, lot of things we say. But what is the situation of majority of people? what is their exact inclusion into the forefront of the society. For that, mere education or giving some knowledge regarding certain subjects or certain things will, I think it will not work out. The total awareness of the situation is the first step, I think. Then we have to have discussion with people in and around these rural areas. And then we should have a discussion with the marginalized people. We should understand when we make some policies, we have to understand the basic needs of the people. So then, of course, we can think about these things, NEP policies, and then we can make sure that at least it will reach the rural society. Now, our expectation through NEP, our expectation is a global citizenship. The children, the people, or the students, they have to grow as an integrated person within their limits, as I say. Each individual has its own limitations. Understanding that or including them into the front side, we have to cater them with their needs. For that, we should understand them personally. And then next comes the creativity, and then innovation. I think it's the next step. First of all, we understand the situation of the people, situation of the students all over India, and their family background, the economic background, and then the social background. We say even we are enlightened. When we travel to the remote areas of villages, even the sparking of caste system is prevalent. It is existing. And what steps we have taken to eradicate that? We don't know. We are not worried about that. So, and then we speak about education for all. So I was very happy to see that when the NEP policy of 1986, the inclusion part was maybe certain areas were excluded, but now in NEP 2020, more wider areas included in that. That was a happiness for me to see that there is a shift, at least by policy or thinking level of people has changed. More or less a wider sense of inclusion has come to NEP 2020 when we compare NEP of 1986. Now I can just another important thing is that when we think about the skills, as the moderator has spoke, it is very important for a teacher to be oriented always. Without any break, the teacher community should be oriented to the certain ideas and then new strategies. And I was inspecting different schools in different areas of as I entrusted by CBSE. So I can really understand the situation of each schools. How can a teacher or that teacher community take in confidence? Do the government take initiative? Do the schools take initiative? who is going to take the initiative to or give in-service training for our teachers? And who is worried about the stress and then well-being of a teacher? Unless and until the teachers are taken care and then they are comfortable in their workplace and their family, what positive thing can come out? So we have to have lot of infrastructure, like it is not a building, but government has to support each and every step that people take. Education should be away from the political religion background. It should be totally free. Unless and until it is totally free and it has got its own freedom to work, things will not happen. I will say we have to exclude the religion and then the politics from education, then all this inclusive and equity will happen. So we have to be, think just, I feel that we have to think in such a way that every child is getting benefit of this country. We have lot of resources. We have got lot more resources, and each and every single child should get the benefit of that.
Right.
And then we say that is inclusiveness. Otherwise, we can say we are always an excluding system. I have gone to even Britain for to just have a study on this inclusiveness. The government is taking more or less even financial support totally to these type of institutions to cater their minute needs.
Right.
And it slowly start from the minute thing, the basic needs, and then moving to that their allied needs also. So to conclude my sharing, I will say we have to take drastic steps to implement these policies. We have to know the people, those who are living in the remote area. They don't have they don't meet their basic needs, and then we say inclusion and equity. It will be just a policy. It will last just like a policy without implementation if we don't know really our people and then our younger students. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Varghese sir, for these wonderful thoughts. You shared the importance why we need to inculcate 21st century skill, be it critical thinking, collaboration among our learners. You also talked about that, why that social responsibility, that sense of social responsibility is missing, from our learners. So you shared your assessment and that part as well. You also talked about, and you explained where the basic needs of our learners, especially among rural parts, are denied. You also called upon everyone that we need more coordinated collaboration among schools, government, local bodies, and parents, in order to successfully implement this national education policy. You also, said that we need to have a robust infrastructure, so that no learner is left behind from all the reforms from this basic need of education. You also talked about that there is a strong need to consider basic needs of marginalized section of our society while creating policies. So that is missing. You also talked about why teachers' capacities need to be rebuilt, and you shared the process. And in the end, you called upon that education must be out of any politics. We need to think beyond our self-interest of the policymakers in that. In that sense. So big thanks, Varghese sir, for sharing these valuable thoughts. I would be coming back to you with questions. Thank you, sir, for your thoughts. And now I would request Suchitra ma'am, before I invite Suchitra ma'am, I must recognize the presence of a very senior educator among us, Tapti Chatterjee ma'am, Executive Director of the Modern Group of Schools, Rewari and Noida. Welcome, Tapti ma'am. And now I will invite Suchitra ma'am. Ma'am, over to you.
Good evening once again to all the eminent speakers. It's a real pleasure to come on such wonderful platform where we can learn and share similar thoughts. However, I would like to thank IIEC once again. I was just seeing the initial slides. You've been doing it for so many months, in fact, and taking up such wonderful topics. This is the best way I think we can reach out to the maximum. First, before I start going to the NEP, I would like to congratulate and give a wonderful reward through my words to all those who are associated with the education. You see, this pandemic has given us such a scope to learn and unwind the way the education is, be it the teacher, the principal, management, or platforms like IIEC. Anyone related to education system have really done a wonderful job. Till March 2020, we never thought we could talk to each other like this, joining from all different parts of the country. I think that's what pandemic gave us. And as a true educationist, from any scenario, be it any crisis or anything, we try to take out the best of it. So kudos to all those who are associated to the education system. Coming to the discussion of the day, I would like to say that I am a very, very positive person. And I suppose we all need to be, because we are dealing with the future generation. Coming from the Army fraternity, I too had the advantage of visiting remotest areas of the country and working in various places where children were coming from such families where the fathers are fighting in the borders and the mother is taking care of, where the mother doesn't know any English education. So yes, to talk about the NEP, there are many things which have been pointed out. Out of them, many in the big schools or like the advanced schools or like the city schools have been doing it. Say, for example, we talk of the inclusion education, we talk of various subjects, we talk of the present scenario that is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. There are many things that have been practicing. However, the NEP this time, 2020 NEP, which has come after so many years, 34 years, I think has given a vast scope for you and me to do quite a lot. Take a responsibility and try to implement, and definitely ask for something more which is still not mentioned, which still we need to. However, this NEP has spoken of both the school education and the higher education. So that's the best part. I think this is one of the only which development that has taken, is to merge these two so that we can tell the children about the future. Like all this time, there was a little de-link between the higher education and the school education. So I think now it's a gradation that we are going to go about, where we can talk to the children. We can tell them, I think this is something which is wonderful, positive step that has been taken, that a child who does not have the capability due to financial crisis, due to health issues, due to family issues, who's unable to continue his education in one go, has the scope of giving a drop or taking a 1-year certificate course, then again take 2 years diploma course or 3 years degree course, and of course, if not the MPhil, but at least go in for a research work. So that's something excellent that has happened. And to talk about the multidisciplinary, which they want to attend by 2040 is also something excellent. And the academic bank of credit is something beautiful. However, now I would just like to concentrate on the school education, because I've been in this education sector since 21 years and being the head of the school for 11 years now. So I've seen the children closely, and personally, I love spending time with the teenage children, that is 9 to 12, because I can see the dream in them, and the zeal in them keeps, I think, all the teachers more realistic. The dream that they have, I think, sometimes down the line, where it was not possible in most of the schools, as Father Varghese was also saying, in the remote areas. Now with NEP, I think they will be getting a scope of choosing their own subject. There's a earmark thing that we have. Okay, the brilliant ones goes in for science, and the middle worker ones goes to the commerce and humanities. Those who are not being able to cope up with, I think that scar will go. And once that scar goes, there will be less pressure from the parents. There will be less pressure from the peer sides, and the children will excellently do well in whichever stream they want to do. They can take up physics, chemistry, and then legal studies. They can take up commerce, economics, and they can go up with mathematics, which progressive schools were giving, but there were restrictions because of further studies, what the child will do. We could demotivate the child if not given that exactly what he wanted to. Sometimes I myself, as a head of the institution, a couple of years back, not though now, I would say you need to decide what you want to become. Why do you want to take a maths with science, with humanities? But that's a wrong concept, you see. Why should I decide now? Let me proceed with multiple choices and let me go and take up when I get that call, let me go and take up that call. So I think this is a wonderful step that NEP has taken. And now leave aside the progressive schools and not so progressive schools, oblique the remote area schools. They will have to permit the child to give up, give any stream that the child wants. So there'll be no art, science, and all. So coming up to the inclusive education, Father Varghese has really given such elaborate explanation about inclusive education. Once again, I would say, yes, it is NEP 2020, which just came up after the pandemic. There were two things to came with the waves, as if the pandemic and the NEP. So there was so much of discussion. We are taking part in so many webinars as panelists and as moderators and speakers and all. I think we are actually needing such discussions as the discussion of today to reach to the maximum, where we would like to say that inclusive education was there in a couple of schools, but now it's going to be a compulsory one for all the schools. Whether we have the infrastructure or not, let us venture. Let us try. Let us give the first shot. Why not? If a child comes, let us not go in for selection. Okay, he doesn't fall under that normal group, and therefore, some reason or the other, not to take the child. Let us be brave enough to educate one child who's very different. Who knows? That child must be having some exceptional quality, and we as an educator giving him one chance, maybe giving the child a wonderful road to proceed. So let us start with one. Of course, challenges will be there, infrastructure or problems will be there, but then we need to start and then face and try to solve the issue. So that will be an excellent step, I think, if we can all take up. To go in for another step that NEP's talked about is not, to dissuade children from rote learning. The assessment policy should be a little different now. It will not be based only on the exact curriculum that we have. So we as teachers need to take a very important role to see, because fair only policies and written things will not work. I, as an individual, will have to take it as a challenge, will have to take it and try and see that how much I can do. And I, as a leader, should ensure that my staff talks of it, my staff helps each and every child not to take only that formula which has been taught in the class, or write those sentences, probably give that idea in that particular answer, which I, as a teacher, taught in the class. Let us talk of creativity. I have finished my lesson. So let me give a chance to my children to give up their ideas related to that topic. So that creativity is something NEP talks about, and we as educators will have to ensure that we take care of that and encourage the children. And because of pandemic, I think technology has taken a boom. This is what NEP by chance was talking of, that though the draft was ready, but it came soon after in the same time. I think we have shown that technology is something which we cannot go without at this scenario. It is because of technology we had taken the care of the mental health of each and every child in the school. Is that a less thing that we have done? We keep talking about we say that the warriors, the corona warriors, we as teachers, we were excellent warriors. The way we took care of the mental health across the globe, every school, whichever way they could. Initially, yes, it was not possible for remote area schools, but then they did come up with. So technology is something which has taken up to a very advanced stage, and I suppose it should carry on. And to a greater extent, now we need to be exploring, because children are, today's generation is born with technology. So instead of barring them from technology, let us give them that technology and utilize it for education, so that technology is used in a very positive way, and they can do their own research, they can make their projects, they can go in for editing, and they can explore this world. So that is something, again, what NEP wants. Frankly speaking, what NEP has not come up with anything which was not existing. Critical thinking and analyzing things, being flexible, is something which we had to do. Now again, we need to emphasize on the fact that yes, this is exactly what we are supposed to work on. So we need to create global citizens. I would take up that small issue which Father Varghese was saying, and that's something which though I mentioned small, it shouldn't be small, it's a huge one. We need to teach our children the values. While doing so, while doing the curriculum of the school, I think CBSE has given us ample scope. So we need to teach our children those values, the empathy, the teamwork, the social responsibility, and of course, the skills that they have to respect each other. These are things which existed even in Gurukul stages. However, we were some way down the line, maybe we had forgotten, and we were emphasizing too much on academics and the assessments and the marks and everything. I suppose once again, it's a wake up call for each one of us to emphasize on these values, so that we can create our citizens, making them global citizens, and of course, reminding them of the traditions that we are proud of. And a little bit, I'll just touch the language portion. Yes, it is said that we need to emphasize and ensure, because education and the lower level could be best if we could teach in the mother tongue. Many parents had this query, and I'm sure all the schools have organized webinars and talks to ensure that the parents understand. There is no embargo. There is nothing emphasized on you have to follow your mother tongue oblique something. There is quite a bit of flexibility given depending on the requirement of the area, of the requirement and the requests of the parents and the students. We can go ahead the way we want. We need to plan to change our plan if required, but that does not necessarily mean we have to shift to our own mother tongue and then forget about English oblique Hindi. Keeping all these things in mind, I think NEP has given us ample scope to go ahead, and I would request my panelists and all those who are here with us that let us all take a responsibility on our own shoulders, what I as an individual can do, and proceed, and of course see the developments on a regular basis. That's all I had to say. I hope I've done justice to the discussion. I'll wait and listen to others now. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have added huge value to the entire discussion, Suchitra ma'am. Big thanks for sharing these important points. You began by saying this, and we all agree with it, that this pandemic has offered us various ways and opportunity to learn. And then you shared your assessment that this NEP's attempt to link school education and higher education is highly laudable. You also, touched upon that flexible exit entry approach, which is, being proposed in NEP, and how it is going to create that huge impact. Many other educators have also shared that this is going to create a huge impact in our education system. You also talked about this NEP is going to empower students from those marginalized section, by giving them this opportunity to choose their own subjects in their own languages. You also talked about, you called upon all the educators that we must enthusiastically come forward and find ways to provide inclusivity to all the learners. And then you also talked about the importance of technology, how it has certainly enhanced the capacities, and we must embrace technology. And then you talked about the need, why we need to create global citizens with the with Indian values, and you shared this NEP is promising in that regard. And then you also called upon all the educators that you need to find ways to inculcate those social values. So big thanks, Suchitra ma'am, for sharing these important points. I would be coming back to you with questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And with this, now I would invite Sonal ma'am. Sonal ma'am, if we can have your ideas in detail.
Yeah, I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First, let us give all of us give a high five to all of us that we are, we are adapting into COVID and learning things, and from traditional way of teaching, we are moving on to webinars. So a big high five to all. And this is what NEP says: is adapt, adjust, collaborate, and grow. So I'm going to talk about grade 9 to 12 today. I'll try to keep it small. Unfortunately, I was unaware of the time that it says 8 to 10 minutes. I'll try to finish it off in 8 to 10 minutes. What is this coming? Yeah.
Ma'am, you go to present now,
Yeah.
select window. If you want to present it. Yeah.
Is it
Yeah, it's coming in. It's coming in.
Okay. So as we all know that we are going to talk about national education policy, and I'll be talking about grade 8 to 12. So moving on to the next slide. Yes. So when we are talking about all this, like national education policy, but what does this national education policy says about where the students are and where we have to take them? So when we say that we have to develop them from adapting things, adjusting things, having creative ideas, innovative ideas. So NEP focuses for grade 9 to 12 also on language, where ma'am has already spoke on it, that a local language has come into existence, where it was there. It's not that it wasn't there, but yes, now it's going to be more focused. That doesn't at all mean that we are going to, sideline the English language. I think Jawaharlal Nehru, in his first speech after independence, he said the first thing was English is a window which opens throughout the world. So we are blessed being Indian, and sometimes bad things also have some good things. So we are, I would say it's good that in some aspects Britishers have, ruled us, because they have given us a gift of English. Otherwise, India would have not adopted so much of English. So of course, with English, we are going to learn other languages where the child will also develop. So apart from that, it's going to focus on scientific temper. So when I say scientific temper, it doesn't mean only having an attitude of chemistry. That means carbon plus hydrogen makes this or that. But it means that everything should have a scientific approach where the child will grow and think on it. Moving onwards, evidence-based thinking. So child will have in this NEP, child will have a clear idea, or he will develop evidences-based thinking. He will have some evidences. He will think on what is he or she doing. Where is he going to grow? For example, if they are adapting vocational courses like let's assume carpentry, where it's going to be, he is going to have evidences thinking on the same, and he's going to develop that skill in him. Further, we would talk about creative and critical thinking, of course, which is almost into existence, but it was not that focused, or that it was not there in the education policy which was declared in 1986. So yes, creative thinking is plays a very vital role, where the child will think critically and develop his ability or he
Sonam ma'am, we have lost your voice. You're not audible.
Not
Sonam ma'am, your voice is breaking up.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. When you asked this question, that was audible.
I hope now I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Better.
Okay, okay. Yes, so moving forward, written skills, the health, wellness of the child, physical education, collaboration with the team, how the child is going to interact, how social he is going to be, how problem solving he is going to be. For example, if, I know one example where the kid, they are unable to solve the problem. Just a small example. My child, 2 days back when I was coming from the school, he asked me, Mama, why are you late? I said one simple thing. I went to parlor, sorry, and I'm sorry to be late. Next day, again I came late, and he asked me, Mama, you are again late. I said, sorry, child, that parlor wali was making late. My child had an immediate solution saying, change your parlor wali. So this is how the problem solution. I'm happy that my child is focusing not only on problems but solving the problems. He immediately had a solution. Don't go to that. Go to someone else. I don't mean go to someone else here, but yes, 3-year child can understand this. That okay, instead of focusing on problems, let us see the solution. So this kind of thing should be developed, and of course NEP is going to help us to develop that. Logical reasoning, of course we need to have that with the kids. They are good nowadays. Kids are having everything just on a touch. They have everything in Google, they have everything, they know each and everything. So behind this, whenever they are watching some video, they should have this logical thinking that why, mama, why, teacher, why this is happening. So they should also develop that in them. For that we need to have efficient teachers, and new education policy says that you can exchange teachers. This exchanging of teachers can happen from 9 to 12, where a teacher can work into 15 institutes, where, for example, any teacher is teaching art and craft, she can go to some other institute and teach as well. She's allowed. Earlier it was, if a full-time teacher used to come, she was not allowed to go in other schools and teach. So now they have come up with the thing that they can go to other institute and they can, of course, teach. They can teach carpentry, they can teach, somebody is good in pottery, or maybe some agriculture, gardening or something. Yes, the teacher can shift. So this is one of the great thing that they have done for grade 9 to 12. So the students won't be unaware, or students will, as we say that, do we have quality teachers? Sometimes this question is always raised, but yes, now this question might reduce to some extent, because NEP has given us this liberty to change the teachers. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah. So as we all know that we are going to have vocational courses from 6 to 8. The same liberty is given to the kids from 9 to 10. They can choose their own subjects. So this own subjects does not mean earlier we had a specific subjects, kind of English, Hindi, Marathi, and math, science, physics, etc. But now they have the whole liberty. The child has the whole liberty to choose the subject with whatever they can go. They want to go with arts and commerce, they can go for it. If they want to go with arts and cricket, I mean games, they can definitely go for it. So this is one of the best thing, where NEP has introduced, where the child will have liberty to choose the subject. But I would say a child will be always a child. So let us guide them in a proper way, because if the child adopts for
say art and craft and games. So when he goes in 12th standard and passes out with 12th standard, what is the future with that? So we need to guide them properly. We need to check what courses are available on further education. So it should not happen jack of all and masters of nothing. So parents, teachers, and we all educators play an important role here in spite of NEP giving us so much of liberty or for the child. So digital literacy, of course, it's as we all know that traditional teachers have taken over on, like digital this thing. We all are connecting on webinars. So yes, this plays an important role where coding and all those things are introduced, and that's good for us. That's good for our future, where these kids are going to have a tremendous different life. At the same time, I would say, as they all say that we have to create global citizens. We have to create global citizens. But I have a small question for all the parents, students, and we all educators. Are we educating our kids with global citizens, with international outlook, but do they have something in NEP which will not leave the Indian values? So of course they have that, and I would say the morals, apart from that, all those constitutional values will be built in them. This NEP has of course introduced the committee which is going to come up. I think the committee has already come up, but they are going to come up with a curriculum in 2023, that the thing for the exam pattern, which is going to change. That's going to change from 20 to 23. So this 23 this thing in the year 23, we are going to have different question papers. We are going to have different types of as far as now they have said is they are going to have semester pattern with two papers, that one will be a written kind of descriptive and the other would be MCQs. So whereas in the child's not only written skills or not only theoretical knowledge will be counted, when we talk about MCQs, of course we need to have appropriate knowledge about it, because they are they are confusing questions. So this is how it's going to build our future kids. Of course, citizenship is also important. There the kids will have this kind of development where NEP is going to frame all the syllabus curriculum, keeping all these points in mind. Hopefully in 23 we'll have, I don't know, they have said because of COVID this might not happen in 23, but cross fingers, we all need to have that. So let us hope for the best. Of course, environmental awareness and all these things we do consider by having I'm sure we all teachers do planting for we keep one day for planting in the month of June, and this kind of awareness has to be developed, where the teachers have to be very innovative. You can't repeat the things again and again. The kids remember, they say, ma'am, last year we had planted on 15th August. We had planted on 26th Jan. So you need to come up with different ideas, maybe, collecting garbage. So that kind of things you have to carry on. Eco-friendly bags, making eco-friendly bags. So this is more important, that we teachers need to be on our toes to run and make the students, get it done. So this is just a collaboration. It's not going to come just in a fraction of second. Moving onwards, current awareness is also important, where the child have to understand. I'll just take it faster. I know sir is making.
I would request Sorel ma'am if you can conclude in next 1 minute.
Okay. I'll do that. Okay, fine. I will not go through this slide because it's going to have too much of this thing. I'll directly go to my. If somebody wants to have a look, you can have a look on this and have a just idea about it. Okay, I'll come directly on summing up my topic. That is, from 9 to 10 students will have vocational courses. They'll be able to they'll be able to take any subject that they want to go for. Second, I would say that they can go for 15 days internship. where they'll have a certificate over there. That includes maybe carpentry, that includes pottery or metal metal ornaments or something like that. These subjects are introduced. So breaks will be available for this kid. For example, if the child wants to go for break of after 10th standard, he wants to go for a break and do something else and then come back to grade 11, he'll be allowed to do that. Every I'm sorry to make that mistake. Every year child will be certified, which means, for example, if the child has passed out 11, 12, for example, if the child has passed out 12th, he'll get the certificate of passing out 12th standard. If the child passes out for the first year BA, he'll get the certificate of, I'll move on with the same this thing. So we'll be having a semester pattern in this. And my last slide would give you a brief idea with what I was talking previously is first to 12th, they'll have a board certificate. For the first year of any bachelor's degree, they'll have a certificate, course certificate. Earlier it was they could not quit. If anyone has done a bachelor's degree and if they could, they could not continue, they would not get any certificate. Now they will get the certificate of course certificate kind of. For second year, they'll get the course certificate of diploma. Third year, they'll get the certificate of bachelor's degree. And fourth year, it's almost doing a PhD. They'll have a research certificate. So this is what I could share about 9 to 10 in short span of time. So thank you so much. I hope I would have I have given a little bit of clear idea with what 9 to 12.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonalji. You did a great work while preparing this slides. It was visible. But big thanks for sharing these inputs with all of us. You mainly focus upon the kind of skills students need to develop, and this NEP is proposing. You share those skills with logical reasoning, language, scientific temper, evidence-based thinking, collaboration, problem solving, among many others. You also talked about it. NEP is proposing exchanging teachers. So that is laudable. Though many people believe it would be difficult in terms of execution, but it is laudable in proposal. You also talked about that students need to develop those adaptability and innovative approach towards different problems, and exposure for vocational skills to students is going to create huge impact. And then in the end, you talked about the key changes which this NEP is going to bring in that 9 to 12th class, domain, be it vocation, internship, semester pattern, certification regularly. So big thanks, Sonal ma'am, for sharing these important ideas. I would come back to you with questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And now with this, I would invite Vipin sir. Vipin sir, if we can have your ideas.
And first of all, thank you so much. I was actually so much blessed because I attended shared so many platforms. But here I would like to, relate the good quality. I mean, the leaders, the one should reflect. So here people are talking about value system. Here some of them are talking about creativity, and our guests are also touched about the social commitment of the children. So I was so much happy because this is what the right platform, because usually whenever we attend such meetings, the people talk about too much about technology, something very, very much alienated about the subjects. But here we are very much focused. We are just making the student as a centered. So that's brilliantly good. So my thoughts on this, this particular NEP. So let me share my screen. So by posing a question exactly to everyone, what exactly what exactly we are focusing on? My screen is visible to all?
Yes, sir.
So NEP is actually, I just gone through the entire guidelines. It was quite, interesting also, but it's not something new that that we are not doing. It's actually there, it's existing, only the realization is required. So what I have given the definition of this one, NEP is like imparting more than academics. So actually that is what the real beauty of education also. So imparting more than, this is actually quite interesting survey that very recently this National Education Survey has released on 2019 and 20. So you can see that the schooling, the distribution of the schooling, the distribution of the student while he is in school. So 80% of the curriculum gives importance to the intellectual intelligence development, the development of intellectual ideas of the child. And whereas 13% contributed to physical and 7%